I'd like to invite the Swiss General Consul in Milan, Sabina Ballafiore. Okay, please. So she really believes in innovation and art. So we also told to be working together, and this is the very beginning. Okay, well, thank you, Maria Grazia. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure for me to speak after you, a perfect host. Once again, to welcome you. Once again, benvenuti, welcome. This is our first, let's say, Swiss edition Meet the Media Guru. Now, Swiss edition is the fruit of the collaboration between the Swiss General Consulate and Meet. Now, we have 6 meetings with as many protagonists from Switzerland. Now, authoritative artists, or let's say specialists in digital creativity, a virtual world, artificial intelligence, so let's say innovation in general. I mean, in this very, wide overarching meaning of this word. So we start today with Gilles Jobin, and I'm really super happy, and thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here in Milan tonight. Thank you, Gilles. Okay, I'm not going to tell you too many secrets now. I hope I have, enticed your curiosity and interest. Anyway, just follow us on Meet or our Consulate General social media to discover the next protagonists. We will keep going on in April, May, and then back in autumn. Of course, you will discover the exact dates on our social media and also the places. I mean, we're really, really innovative. So we will be here at Meet, but we will also be in the House of Switzerland in Corso Garibaldi. This is another Swiss project I'm inviting you to discover. Anyway, today we will be focusing on Gilles Jobin. I can tell you that this is a wow factor to now, to believe me, the bar is so high. Okay, then, once again, thank you for this opportunity. Well, Sabrina, thank you so much for your speech, and especially thank you so much for the cooperation. So with you and with them, we will, explore, many other contexts. We will also discover an unusual Switzerland. Okay, yes, we won't be talking about cliche, the mountains, for example. This is one of the cliche here in Meet the Media Guru, which is we don't want to look at cliche. So we are not happy of the ordinary evidence, we'll look for the extraordinary. Thank you so much for the stories, we will be talking together. Okay, time has come to invite Gilles Jobin. Okay, just a couple of words, and thank you so much for being here. This big round of applause is for you, Gilles. Now, Gilles is a choreographer. I don't know how many awards and prizes he got. An artist I've been, following for plenty of time together with Claudio Prati, who introduced him to me. He's very busy. He made fantastic projects, so choreographies, dance choreographies, and then all the way to doing something very unique in a very advanced way. I don't want to use the word innovative, so something that's really conveying a very important message. I mean, designing for a virtual world, thinking of the real world. So in and out of the two worlds, you will see the incredible creative capacities, but also in terms of expression. I mean, you will just see his research efforts and the designs shows.
Una questione di performing arts.
When we talk about performing arts, this is not a copy and paste. We want to discover new languages, new forms of show, and action plays a key role. Anyway, Gilles comes from the Sundance Festival, There was a project, Cosmogony is the name of the project. And we also have some ideas going on. And then he will tell you, I mean, I really would like to have him back here with a show, okay? This is a preview for you. Okay, this is it. The floor goes now to Gilles, so he can take us, bring us into his world and into his creative dimension, which is so stimulating for artists, but also for non-artists. Thank you so much, Gilles.
Grazie, grazie. Hello, everybody. I'm going to speak in English. I'm sorry about that. My Italian is too rusty. Yeah, so maybe we can start my presentation. So I'm a choreographer. There's one word I'm not going to use tonight, is the word meta. It's the only time I'm going to use it, because if I do, I might be promoting a brand, right? So I'm going to be talking about the biodigital continuum, which is a concept that came from Shari Frylow, which is the curator at Sundance. And the idea is that the biodigital continuum means that we are now living this reality. We are oh, I have this. Turn this off. Oh, the other way around. Yeah, because I hear the translation through the... Okay, so yes, we are already living this reality. We are going in and out of the digital every day. I have a connected watch. We are watching a screen, a digital screen. I'm using a computer. We're sending files everywhere. And now with the COVID, I think we all learn more. We all kind of jump forward in terms of communication and digital communication. But I think what is mostly interesting for me as an artist is that there's many doors to the digital world. When you start to digitalize made sound, images, and now movement, there's many ways to enter. You can screen it as in a 2D movie. You can make a VR piece, an immersive piece. You can make augmented reality. You can maybe include robotic arm into a digital world. So the digital allows you to find new spaces. So what I'm doing is I consider myself as an explorator. So I explore new territories, which are the digital territories. And to do this, I use the language, which it's my language, which is the choreographic language. And the choreographic language apparently works really well into the digital reality. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And you received, when you came in, this little beer coaster that we edited it for the Sundance Film Festival. And behind there is a QR code. And if you have an iPhone, not Android yet, but you can download the app. It's an app called Dance Trail. And then this app is an augmented reality app. And then maybe it's going to work. Maybe you can see, if I go like this, I can make appear a dance on this coaster, right? So you have one. If you have an iPhone, you can play with it. You can also place dancers anywhere you want in the space. And I'm going to talk about this piece when I start my presentation. All right, so let's go. So yes, the main idea for me is to participate and to create a digital ecosystem. When we're talking about Switzerland, Switzerland is a very small country. It's even smaller because you have the French one, you have the German ones, and you have the Italian one. We are even the smallest of the smallest. So we are not a big country. We have a lot of ideas, and I think we have a lot of possibilities. And now it is happening in Switzerland. There is quite a lot of digital projects happening everywhere. And one of the things that we want to do is to try to bring people together in Geneva and to create this ecosystem, a local ecosystem of digital artists and creators from all different fields. And all this from the point of view of the performing arts. I'm a performing artist, I'm a choreographer, and I think the performing arts have the capacity of I mean, we are specialists of real time. That's what we do. When you came in, you came at a certain time. I was here waiting for you. All the technicians, the crew, Maria, she's here. And when we go out of the theater, we all will be a little bit older, unfortunately. But the same amount of time, so maybe 1 hour, 2 hours older when we all go out. So that's real time. So we spend time together in real time. When you watch a movie, that's a very different situation. Grace Kelly, she will be forever beautiful, even though she died about 50 or 60 years ago. So that's where lies my interest, is to reproduce my work, but is also to work in real time. And that's quite of a challenge in terms of technology. So I'm a choreographer, so that's what I did. I started in 1995 doing, contemporary dance. Can call it cutting edge or new tendencies of contemporary dance. We brought some new elements onto the stage. Yes, and I've been doing this for quite a long time. And in around 2016, I mean, quite before, but I started to have an interest in the digital tools. I went to see the film Pina. Maybe you saw it, from Wim Wenders, in 3D. And I was amazed because I thought, wow, this is something I understand. This is the volume of the body, so I can be into this. I understand it. I'm not a filmmaker, but I understand the volume. My language is about space. My language is about the space between the people. I create meaning by spacing bodies into the space, creating relation between those bodies. That's how I create meaning. I'm not a narrative. I'm not a storyteller. I don't tell stories. I create meaning, and I suggest ideas into your heads. So that allow me to kind of move on to different fields as well. Maybe more visual art, but in this case, I went into the digital world. So I'm going to show you a little, a shot of Womb. So obviously it's not in 3D, but maybe this theater is equipped for 3D, so maybe one day we'll show it in 3D. Already it was a collaboration. Franz Streichler, he's a famous Swiss musician. Sylvie Fleury, maybe you know her. She's also well-known visual artist. She did the set for the movie. But as I was working on this movie, I also started to discover motion capture. So when I saw the new possibilities of motion capture, I was blown away. I mean, that was, I couldn't believe it. When I could see that you could easily capture a body into movement and then put an avatar on it, and then you put some VR goggles, and you can see this avatar. You can see yourself. In my case, it was myself, seeing myself dancing real size with Susanna. And we could move around each other, and so I thought, well, this is amazing. I want to make a piece out of this. So we started to work on this piece called VRI. But before I show you VRI, I want to explain just a little bit what is a motion capture system. So here we have two different types of system. This system over there is called an optical system. So you have infrared cameras that send infrared light, and they have markers on their body that are little balls like this, and these markers are captured into space, and then that creates a skeleton, and on top of this skeleton you are going to put an avatar. So these systems are it's a high-end system. They are quite expensive, but they are very precise. So the movement is captured as precise as can be, even though it's not perfect, but still we can learn how to use it and to make the most out of it. This other system is a suit, and inside those suits they have accelerometers, so which is something similar to what I have in my watch. So that's how they can recreate the movement by the acceleration of the movement. So they are very practical because you can take them everywhere. You don't need to have a studio. You can do it outdoor. We could do it here, but they slide a lot, and they're not so precise, so they have their limits. And then you have other systems like which are point cloud system like Kinect, for instance, which is or videometry or photogrammetry, which is making a lot of photos or a lot of videos to reconstruct a 3D image. These are very heavy or very low quality or very heavy and very expensive, so they're not very practical yet, but still very interesting because the advantage is that you're going to capture the reality. So I'm going to be like filmed in 3D, so we'll see my t-shirt moving on my body, you will see everything. But we now have this system, this equipment from it's a company called Qualisys. They're Swedish, Europeans, and they're really fantastic. And now we have our studios equipped with that, and we're gonna we have some building work, so it's gonna be like a really nice studio this fall. And we're starting to welcome also artists to experiment, because we realize that motion capture is something that is, the studio can be very expensive to rent, and then the cleaning of the data of the capture is very expensive as well. So this is a bottleneck for the artist. It's too expensive to get access. So you need to create a non-profit space where artists can experiment with time as they would in a dance studio. If they have to rent 4,000 euro per day a motion capture studio, and then about 5 or 6 euros per second of cleaning for each character that they're capturing, like that means like 100 seconds in 500 euros. That's unaffordable for many artists. So what we want to do, we want to give space and time of experimentation. So the first piece we did is called VRI. So VRI is a piece where, as you can see, people are equipped with a backpack. They have markers on their hands and also on the headsets. And then this is the avatar of the audience, right? So you can see people were a lot interacting between themselves. So a lot of things were going on around them. They are in the middle of this space, and they have all those giant dancers around them. So they interact with them. They think that they interact with them, but actually they are pre-recorded. So there's no interaction. We even had a wheelchair avatar for the audience. But typically that was the situation. I was putting up a situation that people, they understand where they are. They're like visitors, these big giants, they look at them, they don't really see them like the little ants, little insects. They're not really interested. So they are like invisible tourists in visiting this space. And I had to find some ideas to how to move those 5 people into different spaces. It was, this piece toured a lot, we showed it a lot, because it was really an overwhelming experience for the audience to be, and as it was for me the first time I tried the system, just to see myself and be like, wow. So, many times they ask, they think that digital means interaction, but what is interaction? In this case, the interaction was between the 5 spectators. They had to talk to each other in a funny detail. Many people ask, oh, why you didn't put a mirror? I want to see myself. And say, no, we didn't put a mirror because we want you to talk to each other. So they had to describe themselves. Oh, how do I look like? Oh, I'm black. Oh, I'm a woman. Oh, I'm a man. Because we didn't choose for them. So you would get what you would get. You never know which avatar you would get. So that would create some kind of discussion between the people, and they had a live experience, so they felt it was live. So the piece was going really well. It was touring everywhere. We had a lot of dates, and then something happens that cut everything. Maybe you heard about it, and the whole world just shut down. And so for us, we were touring performance. That was a disaster, of course. We didn't know what to do. We were locked down. Everybody was panicking. So we thought, well, let's experiment as we're waiting, as we cannot be in the studio. So we started to try to make the first connection at a distance. So we have those accelerometer suits. This is Susanna and me in my house. And this is Camilo, he's our technologist. And he was in Fribourg, Switzerland, which is about 100 kilometers away from Geneva. So we started to make the connection. So he was putting us inside a 3D space from our house in Geneva, and he was doing it from Fribourg. So these were really, really the very first experiment, and I think we're talking about something like April or May, so when the lockdown in Switzerland started in mid-March. So we thought, well, that's interesting, so it works. And we realized that we could invite any motion capture system into a 3D space from any type of motion capture. So that was really opening up a field. And it was not so complicated. You can see on the bottom on the right, you see the little kind of skeletons of the avatars. And a different scene. So these are the avatars that we put into a scene. This is the original motion capture from the software. So we started to play and try to see if we could understand the whole thing. And then I'm going to show you this a short excerpt of this program from Arte, the TV, Arte TV, because it's very rare that a TV program is significant in discovering and making you being creative. So they were supposed to come to Switzerland to film us for one of our performances because they were doing this subject on the digital and dance. And it couldn't happen, so I say, well, maybe we can do something at a distance. The presenter of the program, her name is Silvia Camarda. She's a choreographer from Luxembourg, and she's also a very good dancer. So the point of the program is that she gets into the thing, she dances with the thing. If you get to see it, it's really nice. I recommend to see it. It's quite fun because she meets a lot of different dancers. So as you will see, Silvia is getting into what we do.
Tristan a utilisé des photos de moi pour créer mon avatar. Il me plaît.
So it's in French. So she's just saying that she's happy about the avatar he's making.
Ici, on a Tristan. Hello.
Salut Tristan.
Lead artiste 3D. Il est justement en train de terminer 2-3 petites retouches sur ton avatar parce que on a appris que tu étais enceinte, alors on a dû faire des retouches, quoi.
Yeah, she was pregnant, so we had to make a pregnant avatar.
Voilà. Et alors, on voulait que ça ressemble à la réalité. Alors, voilà ce que ça donne.
J'ai tout un setup ici qui me permet de contrôler en temps réel et en direct ce qui se passe. Donc je peux déplacer avec ce contrôleur-là les câbles.
On transmise directement à Genève. Est-ce que ça va fonctionner? J'ai du mal à croire que je vais vraiment me retrouver aux côtés de Gilles et de la danseuse Susana Panades-Diaz.
Waouh, Sylvia.
Waouh, Gilles, nous voilà dans le même espace.
Ouais, tu vois, ça marche, hein. On a réussi à le faire.
Ah, c'est trop cool, hein, Susanna? Hey!
So she was in her living room in Luxembourg, and we were in the studio. And we were under a different motion capture system. All right. So yeah, that's just like, we thought, okay, well, this is crazy. And we were talking about, again, we did this in, I think it was in May or September. I mean, it was like all in this middle of these difficulties of trying. So it was very exciting to do this. I come back a little bit before that. Just after VRI, the immersive piece, I started to think about augmented reality. So augmented reality is you bring the digital space into our reality. That's the contrary. So in VRI, the audience will be inside the digital space, and in this case, we invite the dancers, the digital dancer, into our real world. So it was a commission piece that I, for this, they did the renovation of this building. It's a brutalist building from the 60s in Lausanne, very beautiful by I forgot his name, but I will remember. The architect? Come on. He's a very famous actor. He's the father of the very famous one. Anyway, so I did this piece, and they were very happy with the idea because they wanted to have a piece that didn't have any impact on the site. They didn't have a big budget because it was only a refurbishment. So that's why they made a competition for this, and we won with this project called Magic Window. So Magic Window is an augmented reality piece, location-based. So there is some tiles on the floor, and when people scan the tiles on the floor with their phone, then the dancers appear. And what is specific about it is that they are location-based, so they don't move. So they're really placed in connection. Then we did another one called Dance Trail. And was here. I did it this morning. So Dance Trail is the one I showed you before. All right. So this was done this morning here. You see how you can combine with other images, and I do a lot of what I call museum hacks. So I put my dancers into museums or into different situations. Let me just pause just a sec. So that is a. This piece was presented at Sundance also in 2020, and I remember it was in February, and I was getting some news about China being closed, and I thought, oh man, this is looking bad. I mean, if I'm getting I had to travel in China, I couldn't do it, I had to cancel. I thought, oh, if Gilles Jobin is starting to having problems, then this is a real problem. So when we came back from Sundance, we were working on this piece, and that was in February 2020. It's a piece called Real Time, and the idea of this piece is a duo with Susanna and Maël. And we thought, okay, so now let's all those digital experiments, now let's put everything on stage. So they are under motion capture system in front of screens, and you see the result of their movement on the screens. What you see is really the start of the work. Well, we worked like maybe 1 month to get to this point, and I think we had to stop like 1.5 months before the opening. That's when the COVID came, when the lockdown came in. So we had to stop. Oops. Oops. I don't like this command. I get confused. Okay, I go back. Sorry, this is just technology. It's nothing. Okay. Okay, so Dance Trail. So that was the thing. So what we were really interested with this, we're not really looking at the movement. That was not our point. We were really looking at the system. It's like, how we can interact and how we can have, the different avatars and the different movement. Hugo, our technician, he's carrying a virtual camera. It's just a piece of wood that is being tracked, and so we can use it as a camera. And you can see the avatars. They're the same avatars. You have Susanna and Maël, but they are exchanged. So on one screen, there's Susanna and a robot Maël, and on the other one, there's Maël and a robot Susanna. So that's when we started to discover that with only 2 dancers, we could have 4 or 6 or 8. If you change the avatars, if you change the direction. So that was really for us a very important process. How they can come in, how they can come out. But then when COVID came, I thought, well, that's it. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. So I decided to cancel this project. We were working on the model of the La Comédie. La Comédie is a theater in Geneva, it's a new theater that was being built. We've been working on this for 2 years. And we were getting to the end when COVID arrived. So the idea was to modelize the whole building and put some animation inside. So when people go visit the building, they don't feel alone. And they feel that something is going on. So there's different pieces, different animation. And this is a VR piece. And again, we thought, well, maybe we could make it multi-user. Let me just pause a sec. We can make it multi-user. But at that time, who wants to put some headset and get together like from everywhere in the world? There wasn't not really much context for this. So we thought, well, maybe that's going to go. We're going to do this in 2 years, 2.5, when the tech will be better and people will be more connected and more headsets. But then COVID came. So we were talking with the Venice Biennale with Michel Reillac, which I think is coming soon also to talk here. And we say, well, we're working on this. It's a multi-user project. It's going to be a live project. What do you think? They say, wow, we're super interested because we're canceling everything. This year is going to be digital only. So the island is closed. That's it. It's going to be online. So we are super interested. So we say, okay. So we did a demo. And I think it was in June when we showed them the demo, and we had to do the piece for the end of August. So that was short. But we did it, and then we did another version, a better version. But I'm going to show an excerpt of this piece. So this is VR piece. So people are in VR inside the space. So these little sticks, they are real people coming from, sometimes we had 14 different countries at the same time. And here you can see the dancers. So we have 3 dancers in Geneva, 1 dancer in Melbourne, this is Victoria, and Dia, she's in Bangalore in India. Right? So they have Rococo suits, not very good suits, but we sent them by, by mail because, of course, they couldn't move. They couldn't come. I couldn't invite them anymore. I couldn't work with them. They are part of all of the digital pieces that we did. So we thought, let's try to work with them. So we did the creation with them at a distance. And of course, there's a time difference. You know, Australia, it was in the evening, in the morning, and in India. So, and here you can see we had these 3 screens inside the space, and we put a clock so people could know the time difference, you know, like you have in the station on the international hotels. And this is the second part of the piece. So the idea it was that people would come in, the people would come in inside the room, and then at the back of the room opens, and there's like a big garden, and they can fly through, and they continue, and they go straight, and when we get to the end, this is the theater again. They get inside the theater, and that's it. That's finished. It was complicated because when you are in VR, an immersive space, you cannot choose the point of view of the spectator. The spectators, they are free. They can go anywhere they want. It's not like cinema. Cinema, I choose what I want to show you. No, that's the beauty of cinema. I decide that I want to make a close-up of Maria, and I'm only going to show you a close-up. But in VR, I can go close, I can go far, I can go back, I can look the other way around. So it's a very different situation to be in VR. So that was a challenge to guess if people will follow and go where they're supposed to go and not go exactly on the opposite direction. And I think it worked. And again, because performing arts, that's what we do. We attract the attention. We know the rhythm. We know that it takes time for you to look from here or something happen. Okay, so you look here and then you come back here. So we have this we are used to this kind of rhythm, yeah, in real time for people to follow the situation. As we were developing all this, we thought, well, you know, we are stuck. We need to invent also new connections. So we had this project called Virtual Crossings, and there was some support also for artists, so we applied for support, and we got support for this project called Virtual Crossings. And Virtual Crossings is the idea is to connect clusters of digital artists, in this case in Buenos Aires. So they have Kinects, with very rudimentary motion capture system, and we were working from our studio in Geneva with them in Buenos Aires, and we did 2 performances in Buenos Aires. And this is the second one that we did in Melbourne, Australia, with VCA Dance at the Melbourne University. They have a huge motion capture studio. So they're our friends. We work with them quite a while, like I think about 2 weeks every day. We never met them. So we also have to learn how to work. How do you work at a distance? How do you connect every day? Hello, you know, we have to invent. How do you welcome audience? I mean, all this is kind of new. So that was so exciting. This is our studio in Geneva. And you can see we have a lot of monitors around because the dancers, they need to find their way. So that was the first version of Cosmogony. Initially, it was supposed to be a projection on a building, a video mapping on a huge 100-meter wide building in Singapore. But the COVID came 1 week before. and they said, well, no, all the outdoor performances are forbidden, so we send you back in a theater. You know, which was kind of strange because in Switzerland they were closed, the theater. So they put us in a 2,000-seater with only 50 people inside. And this is another version. That's the final version. So finally we could do a video mapping on a building, and that was in the festival in Bucharest. So, you know, we performed 10,000 kilometers away from a studio. That's Singapore. And in Bucharest, 2,000 kilometers away from a studio. Hopefully, we'll present Cosmogony here from our studio in Geneva, and we're also thinking about connecting maybe another venue like the La Cinémathèque Suisse, for instance. So we can do multi-diffusion as well. So it's there's so many possibilities that you don't know where to start. So now I'm going to show you a last image, which is the project we're working on at the moment. And I'm really happy about this project. Very excited. It's a very different project. It's with an illustrator, a Swiss illustrator. His name is Thomas Ott. He's known, he does scratching. He scratches on black card. I think he's known in Italy as well because he's been published in Italy. He's a famous cartoon artist and visual artist, but he's an illustrator really. But he has his very specific special technique. So we thought, that would be interesting if you could create a world in 3D with his technique, no? And he's very precise, and he was not too convinced at first. He did some experiments with animation, but he was not really convinced by the result. But when he saw what we can do, working with the light, and how we could scratch digitally, I mean, he even started to scratch himself digitally. So this is, again, very early stage of the research when we're really learning, trying to find the system so we don't have all the little scratching moving, because if you scratch and then you another frame and you scratch and another frame and you scratch, then it's going to be like this. So he didn't want to have this. So we thought, maybe there's a way that the light can just make appear this kind of framing that he has, which is very specific. And now we already moved on a little bit more because we worked. And he does a lot of skulls and this kind of dark, Route 66 rock type of universe. So he started with this head. So Tristan, he did, from his drawing, he put it into 3D, and then he started to scratch on it to see what happened. So now they moved on because now Thomas, he started to scratch himself. So now they're starting to think, maybe he should do the scratching. So you see how the light, this is amazing. I mean, because it's, the way he works is counterintuitive because he goes, the more he scratches, the more there is light, right? Oh, yeah, that's him scratching, you see, that's his first. So not only he discovered scratching, but he discovered the digital desk as well, and going back. Because when you scratch, that's it, you cannot go back. And this is some of the first tryouts we did to do one of those scenes, because the name of the piece will be Sunset Motel, and it's about a motel, and there's a lot of different things that happen in this motel, like low life people, losers, and one of the scenes is this. We did this really quickly with Agathe, and there's a little exchange of dodgy money deal to something. So that was just a try that we had. Okay, so I think in terms of images and talking, I'm done. And maybe we can move on to, if you have questions, if I can go deeper into some different elements that you would like to know. Of course. Before that, we have the special events that we did. And Susanna is going to send it, or they're going to send it. We're going to start. Actually, we did a little, how can I forget this? We did this little special piece that we did in the Jura with our app Downstreet. So we're going to start with this. Why did you go back to this one? So this, I did it with my phone. If you put the app on your phone, you can do it as well. That's it. You can make images. You just place your dancer, record it. It's inside your photo, and then you can edit it and post it. If you post it on Instagram, put the hashtag #DanceTrail so we can see what you do. So now we're gonna show an excerpt of Cosmogony, and then I will take the questions. So Cosmogony is this piece that we presented at Sundance. So we're gonna present like about 7 minutes of it. We have different versions. We have version, as you saw, that we can project on the building. It's a piece that could be also spread out into different types of screen. But now we have a more standard version, which is the cinema version. But here we have the special 3-screen version. So here we go.
Welcome the spirit. Let it come in. Open your mind. Don't be afraid. Last time you felt it, is so long ago.
Okay. Maybe just a little comment about cosmogony before we take the question. What you see here, the image is quite stretched, and so the quality is not very good. When we do it in real time, the way it works is like online video gaming. So if you play online gaming, you will have your computer or your PlayStation at home. You generate the world locally, and the only thing you send, you connect to a server, and you send the position of the player to the server, and you get the other position back. So that's how you can be facing each other in the game and play together in the game. So in the venue, they will have a PC computer. They will generate the world, so the quality will be like super HD. It's not a streaming. What we send through the internet is only the data of the movement. So it's not very heavy, and it's very fast and very precise. So it's quite stunning to see it live, because you cannot believe the quality of the image, which here it doesn't really render. I don't know why this moved by itself. Okay.